like to hide things under my bed. Boxes of Thin Mints, puzzle pieces, blueprints for secret battle stations in the backyard, a collection of bottle caps and cookie fortunes, scraps of scribbled drawings. I learned to be a consumer from a very young age. I remember one night that I ran to my parents' room because of a nightmare in which I had dreamt that a dragon came out from under my bed and burned our house down. My dad took me by the hand back to my room and read me a story about a little monster who feared the human under his bed. Before my dad tucked me in, he said, "Don't be afraid of the dark and the things that you do not understand. If you look closely enough, you'll see that whatever is under there is not really that scary." The funny thing about dreams, or at least the dreams that I have had, is that they shift in and out of rationality. When I am talking to one character, the person might shift to an entirely different character, and yet I find that I still acknowledge that person as the same character, even though their appearance has completely changed. Likewise, I could be in one place, then jump to another dimension. But this would seem entirely normal to me as a dreamer. You see, dreams happen in a string of unexpected events, and this is how we've learned to distinguish them from reality. I've recently learned that reality is just as unpredictable. Last week was the nightmare I had as a child. I went home to visit before graduation. Alerts of a potential firestorm had been on the news all week. My parents had work scheduled until Friday, so we decided that we wouldn't leave until then. I woke up to a roar and the heat, and tried to run down the stairs, but something hit me in the head and knocked me out. In the moments that I lay unconscious, I flashed back to the dream that I had as a little girl. My father comforting me in his arms, in a sense, slaying the unbelievable dragon that had come out from under my bed and burned down our house. Then a figure appeared in the darkness.
Marion, Marion, Marion. Marion, what's up?
Marion.
Who are you? Where am I? I'm Corinne. Right now, your body's in your burning house. Don't worry, someone will be there to get you out soon.
How could this happen? How could this happen in my family?
That's what I said at 1.2. Anywho, I only have a couple of minutes. You have to meet the others.
What others?
We're here to teach you a lesson. You have to take this experience and learn from it because we didn't get the chance to.
What do you mean you didn't get the chance to? Who are you?
I lived in New Orleans with my mom and dad and brother my whole life. I have so many good memories of that place. My family has lived there for generations. In August of 2005, we received warning that a major storm was coming. However, in the South we face hurricanes frequently, and didn't know this one would be any different. Besides, we believed our house could provide enough protection to save us. We were also concerned about how long it would take to evacuate and get out of the city. So we stayed. We ignored the mandatory evacuation call. I mean, my entire family history is there. How are we supposed to uproot and move somewhere else? That was my city. I'm sure you know how that feels. That was your home, where you grew up and housed all of your belongings, memories, and family. You feel violated and confused. So the storm surge caused water to seep into the soil underneath the levees and swept some completely away. Swept away what was supposed to protect our city. 80% of the city was underwater, and officials were not prepared for the destruction. FEMA didn't come in with a plan. Bush didn't take it seriously. It was an enormous, horrifying mess, and they're still not done cleaning it up, even 9 years later. My city still feels the repercussions of that single event. I am one of over 1,400 people who died because of Hurricane Katrina. So you think what happened to you was unfair? You believe the unthinkable just happened? You wonder why? How? I have asked myself these questions constantly since that fateful day. Why me? Why does it have to be my family that deals with that loss? There is only one fact in this world that matters right now. You cannot control everything that happens to you. You have to come to terms with not having everything go your way.
But in school, they always teach us that we have control over our own future. That's why we have to get good grades and get a ton of internships and leadership roles, so we will be successful. We don't plan for getting caught in a firestorm.
Some things just happen randomly. As horrible as an event it is, Hurricane Katrina also taught us a lesson. We can't control nature. But if we don't learn from this event, all of the death and destruction will be for nothing. We must take the proper mitigation steps to prepare for these random cases. Don't make the same mistakes my family did. Life throws curveballs your way, and sometimes those curveballs cost you that life. Luckily, that's not going to happen in your case. You have a bright future ahead of you, but you're going to have to accept the challenges and failures that come with it.
Yesterday morning, my brother and I drove to the site where the house had been to salvage what was left. It was a monster of a home, scaling 3 stories with a total of 32 rooms. The fire had revealed the neglected corners of our house to which forgotten objects had floated over the years. No memories remained, just 1,000 bits of charred plastic amid the rubble. A lifetime's worth of junk that we never threw away. I am beginning to realize now that I am just part of the waste, useless and defiling, because this is the mark that I left on the earth. I think about the 315 billion people that exist in the US alone, and how much we hold on to for our entire lives. It has become such a convention to consume useless material that we, in turn, have commodified our entire society. It's a relatively new paradigm, one that has drastically changed our primal sense of competition. Instead of gathering resources for our own well-being, we exchange capital for the well-being of corporations, and at the expense of everything else. It is difficult to perceive the implications our economic system has from the lens of a college student. We go to college so we can make the world a better place. How are we destroying it? It is time to gain perspective and to reevaluate the consequences of our actions.
It's nice to finally meet you, Marion. Do you hear that? It just becomes white noise eventually. You get used to it.
Where am I? Why do I hear all those people?
This is our heaven. Or our confinement. I guess it depends on your perception.
Are there more of you?
Oh, there's as many of us as you can imagine. We exist everywhere, but never out of the reach of people like you.
I don't understand. Have I died?
No, we're just keeping you as collateral. An investment, so to speak. Allow me to explain. I was one of those few. I was a king of industry, a leader in innovation, a crusader for the rights of corporations. I was God. My company and I controlled everything and everyone, from the government elites to the impoverished unemployed. Our product, seeds, are the root of life, and there we were creating it for ourselves, doing nature's duty. We provided these seeds to the whole world, all the markets, so that we could feed starving masses and show them all the benefits of the capitalist system. But I know now, and I had to learn the hard way, that we were all wrong. Yeah, I had a modest beginning. I worked hard from a young age, and I was rewarded for it. I did everything in self-interest. I wanted to be rich. I wanted to own the world. the fast cars, the big houses. I figured it could all be mine if I just did what needed to be done. But I realize now that these little necessities were actually briberies, cheating, lying, and even stealing. We sought to control government legislation through electing our own employees to office, and it worked. It put us in common company with other government officials for a collective private interest. It was the nature of the system. But moral degradation followed my rise to wealth, and it happened so fast I never gave it a second thought. And I can't tell you how deep the regret goes now. Now that I can see past my economic blindfold, I can see the true state of the world. All of us here can. I think we started with good intentions, but it was so competitive. The shareholders, our wives, kids, always breathing down our necks, wanting more. We were trying to feed the world and our own selfish needs, and we were succeeding. For a time, though, there was plenty of backlash. Elitist housewives and little farmers. We thought they were jealous of our success and power. They said they didn't want our creations, that it was going to be bad for them, physically and economically. I guess they didn't believe we were God. The sad thing is that I really believed in the science at first. We were the rational ones, the creators, and the rest were just sheep mindlessly grazing. Our seeds were going to have higher yields and grow superior products. It was proven and we believed it. When research started to show otherwise, well, I chose to be blind to it. I had already invested all I had into this company. We had come so far, it was way too late for us to turn back. We decided to fight this and the labeling of GMO products with everything we had, because we were powerful and thought we could rule the world. I know now the importance of science. It is one of the only truths we have, maybe the only one. And because all of us in power chose to be blind to it, chose to believe in ourselves as gods over the facts, we destroyed the agricultural economy and damaged the livelihoods of global populations. In the attempt to make ourselves better off, we ruined everything worth having. I found this out too late. But it's not too late for you. You are right to question the global consequences of your action and those corporations. The next generation needs to know that pursuing empty commodities as a source of happiness is fruitless and harmful to their own morality and the sustainability of society. They need to know that science is a truth we must all abide by, and turning a blind eye will never work. Only these foundations can ensure an effective government, a fair economy, and healthy, happy people. I left a legacy of destruction and damnation, but you can do differently. All of you can do differently.
As we all go out into the world searching for work, let us not forget the impacts that our actions can have on our neighbors. Our greed degrades what is left of humanity and has spiraled out of control to the point in which we have ended innocent lives and destroyed this precious world. Who are we to carry such catastrophic deeds and be the ones to determine the fate of others? When I woke up today, I didn't plan on being God. So what have we come to?
I was hoping you'd wake up soon.
Who are you?
It's not about me, it's about all of us.
My name is Sue, and I was one of more than 1,100 workers killed in the collapse of the Rana Plaza building in Bangladesh on Wednesday morning, April 24th, 2013. I remember that day as if it happened just yesterday. Along with 3,600 other workers, I gathered courage to stand up to Sohail Rana, the owner, and refused to enter the dangerously broken building, to no avail. Instead, I was struck mercilessly by clubs multiple times by gang members that the owner had hired to scare us into working. We were told that if we didn't return to work, we wouldn't earn any money for that month. I was in pain from the beating, and this last statement was the last straw. I couldn't go back to my precious hungry family with empty hands, and the days I spent from 8 in the morning to 10:30 at night working would all be wasted if I didn't earn my hourly wage of 22 cents.
It was 8 in the morning when we reluctantly entered the building that looked like it would collapse any minute. Then, 45 minutes later, my life came to an end as the building gave way and fell on top of us all. What have I and the other 1,100 workers who were killed done to deserve this cruel death? Who does Soharana think he is? Who are these heartless people in the Western world who need all of these clothes that never seem to let me rest my hands and eventually led to my death? I was only 20 years old, and I couldn't even say bye to my beloved mother, father, and sister. Every day I have struggled with a blinding fury at my unjust fate and a sadness so deep I can't escape. For years while waiting for you, I have impatiently observed the selfish ways of the Western world and the continuous corruption in my country, and I have come up with a message I'd like you to get across to these people somehow. Armaments, universal debt, and planned obsolescence. Those are the 3 pillars of Western prosperity. If war, waste, and moneylenders were abolished, you'd collapse. And while you people are over-consuming, the rest of the world sinks more and more deeply into chronic disaster.
What I have been saying up to this point may seem incredulous, but to me, the experiences I had meeting these 3 people have radically changed my perspective and the person that I am now. What terrifies me is that I lost nothing in the fire. I have my family. I am alive. I can move on from this. But the earth will be forever tainted by the damage I have done. Life is not as straightforward as we might like. Random events bring chaos to people around the world on a daily basis. And our loss of reverence for nature and for our fellow human beings can reach a dangerous point and bring devastation in ways that we may not have initially intended. As we go out into the real world and try to find our places, we will inevitably realize that life, most of the time, does not go according to plan. It is not too late to change. In fact, it is crucial that we do. So please, I encourage each and every one of you, be the change that this world needs. Thank you.